Hi, it's me again. This is 6 or 7 and I received an interesting challenge. Recreate a drawing you made when you were young. Well, I do have some old drawings, but out of the 5 folders I have with pencil and paper creations of mine, 2 are filled completely with Mario related stuff. So I got the idea to try to create some old hand-drawn Mario levels in Super Mario Maker 2. Because see, I got the Switch Lite a month ago, and last week a game for it, Super Mario Maker 2. Yeah, there were 4 weeks between me getting a Switch and me getting a Switch game, but I was having a lot of fun with the NES and SNES games that come with the Switch Online service. Anyway, there was no stylus that came with the console or game, and I didn't fancy building levels with my finger or with the non-touch controls, so I also ordered the stylus. And a spare, because I lose things easily and the sending fees were almost as high as the stylus price anyway. This morning I published my first level. My first level for Super Mario Maker 2, that is. You might have seen that I made several levels for the original Super Mario Maker. After all, for a couple of years now I've been sporadically uploading a video of one. But my enjoyment of level creation goes even further back. In fact, I bought my Wii U specifically for Super Mario Maker, because I thought it would be the perfect game for me, and I was not disappointed. I had expected this because long before Nintendo's release of Super Mario Maker, I had used other tools to create my own levels. In 2009 I designed levels for Super Mario Flash from parental. I even uploaded videos of some of those levels to my YouTube channel a few, 8 years back. I also made lots of levels in Super Mario 63 the year after. This was a fan game from Runau. And of course, when I wasn't allowed more time behind the PC and occupied myself with pencil and paper, I designed levels there too. So I had the idea of remaking a level in Super Mario Maker 2. First step, find the level to remake. That was not so easy, however. This is the oldest game I have. Although I am pretty sure there's older stuff that I've thrown away or lost. But this game I abandoned quite early in development and there's really not a lot to it. This is the biggest game I have, and according to the file in the folder it's also the most fun game I made. As usual I got quite creative with it. A giant snake boss, a seemingly Super Mario Galaxy inspired level, and one of my Mario themed levels contains a vacuum cleaner for which you need to obtain the plug and put it in the socket. Very fun, but unfortunately hardly anything in this game could be recognizably implemented into Super Mario Maker 2. Or so I assume, maybe I'm just not creative enough. However, I did find one game that seemed doable. This game is undated, but if I'd have to guess, I'd say it might have been made after I lost interest in that biggest and funnest game. I'm not sure though, it could be older. In any case, I did make it when I was young. The game is inspired by Super Mario Bros. Deluxe, which was the first video game I got all the way back in 2005. The deluxe part is actually certain, as there are some references to the extras in that game. Like most projects I've started, I didn't finish this one. I got up to 11 levels though and I remade them all in Super Mario Maker 2. Let's start with 1-1. There are 2 things that might spring to your attention first here, if you exclude my drawing ability. First off, I decided to make this game start out easy and slowly build up. Very easy. The other thing is that there are point totals displayed next to the flagpole. These indicate the amount of points you would get for hitting that point of the flagpole. However, in the actual game 5000 is at the top and 100 at the bottom, and I apparently decided to mix it up. I do like the idea of the bottom of the flagpole being worth the most here, because trying to hit that would increase the risk of falling into the abyss. Anyway, the resulting level in Super Mario Maker 2 is pretty simple. In this game you can only change the height of the beginning and nothing else about it, so I simply added the platform that's in the drawing to the right of the mandatory start. Well, on to 1-2. I'm not quite sure what I intended here. At the end of 1-1 there's the regular castle, but then before 1-2 there's a warp pipe downward and one to the side. This looks like the usual entrance to underground or underwater levels, but it seems more likely that it is the actual underground section, as the part where it says 1-2 contains the flagpole and castle, and those are never underground in the original game. However, in Super Mario Maker they can be. One 3 introduces some new elements, coins and the question block with a super mushroom. Also there's this block of which I wasn't sure what it was. It looks the same as the ground in the previous level, but that didn't make sense to me, so I went with brick blocks at first. However, I found out later that the brick block was indicated otherwise, so I went for consistency and reverted to a ground block in midair. Can we get the 1-up here? That's something that Super Mario Maker added, by the way, although it was possible to get 1-ups from the flagpole in Japan Super Mario Bros. 2 as well, but only if both digits in the coin counter match the last digit in the timer counter. Here's the first castle level. After defeating the Goomba, of course normally it would be Bowser, but as I said I wanted the game to start out easy, you rescue a Toad, who says, translated to English, "Thank you Mario, the princess has been rescued by Luigi. Would you like to continue playing the game anyway?" I think I intended for there to be lava in that cauldron shape there, but it's not possible to place lava in Super Mario Maker, nor is it in Super Mario Bros. So I just made it to drop into the lava that's always at the bottom. This level starts out with 3 question blocks, the first of which was clearly intended to contain the Super Mushroom in Small Mario and the Fire Flower in Super Mario. This is possible in Super Mario Maker 2 as well, but you won't see the result of that as you always start each level as Small Mario. The second block is supposed to contain a single coin, I think. This is the default in Super Mario Maker. If you do add the coin to the question mark block, it will yield several coins instead. The third simply contains a star. Let's see the finished level. Oops, there goes the star. Ha, jumped over the flagpole. I'm not sure if you saw the flagpole in the drawing, but it had values of 200 and 5000 alternating. How creative. Here's the underwater level. This is mostly fairly straightforward, but I excluded the end. You see, once again the level starts in the subzone, so to speak, and then at the end there's a warp pipe to the overground where the flagpoles were always located in the original games. However, in the Super Mario Maker games it is impossible to make a level start and end in a different area, so I just left the end out and had the flagpole underwater. It's interesting that they place Goombas underwater in this level. In the original Super Mario Bros. Games this does not occur, but the Super Mario Maker it is common practice. They have a fun animation too. One more thing to note is that Super Mario Maker does not have coral as a separate block. Instead, when underwater, ground blocks get turned into coral blocks under certain conditions. This made it impossible to copy the design in the drawing, unfortunately. 2-3 is a bridge level. In the original game, Cheep Cheep jumped up here, but I did not draw them into this level. I'm glad, as it might have been hard to recreate. As it was now, it was actually quite a straightforward recreation. What was annoying though is that it is impossible to have the grassy platforms at the bottom of the screen. They must always be at least 3 blocks up. This made some parts hard to line up, as in the drawings I did use grassy platforms at the very bottom, as this occurs in Super Mario Bros. Deluxe too. Here's the second castle. At the end of it you rescue Yoshi in my game. What's a bit strange is that the first part seems to be completely detached from the rest of it. You could get up to the ceiling of the level because of this, but that is actually possible in some levels in the original games too. The rest of the level is made up of a very narrow corridor with a lot of Goombas. I will explain later why I think these blocks that are indicated in the drawing by a square with a cross should be brick blocks. However, in this case maybe they should have been firebar blocks with a firebar absent. These don't exist in Super Mario Maker, because if you place a firebar, it's got its own block attached to it, and it looks different than the block in the original game. Oops, I died. Anyway, in this second castle I still didn't draw in any firebars, but I might have been planning to reuse the same layout later with firebars, as that's something the original game did. The boss here is a Koopa Troopa. I was probably intending to use the enemy progression that was really used in the original game too. If you killed the 2-4 Bowser with firebars, you would see that it was really a Koopa Troopa in disguise. World 3 went unfinished. I did complete the first 3 levels of it though. Interesting about this level is that it has a tiny flagpole and doesn't list points you'd get. I'm not too sure about the two big ovals there. I just assumed they were intended to be coins, but they are a lot larger than the other coins and it doesn't seem too logical to put coins behind the flagpole either. The poor Goomba is stuck in there. There are also several enemies in this level that just walk off the edge before you get to them. I'm not sure if they realized that when originally designing these. You notice here that the bridge doesn't connect to the blocks. It doesn't seem to be possible in either this game or the original Super Mario Maker. Let me know in the comments if I missed something and you can do it somehow. This level is where I finally realized that the blocks with a cross in them are in fact supposed to be brick blocks and not hard blocks. You see, this block contains a star, and the only blocks besides question mark blocks that can contain things are brick blocks. The beginning of this level has a long chain of enemies, the first of these being a Koopa Troopa. With this you can almost get a 1-up, as killing 8 enemies with a single shell kick yields one. Another remarkable thing about this level is that where the previous level had a tiny flagpole and no stairs leading up to it at all, this level has an extremely tall flagpole in the drawing and a very high bridge leading up to it. This is the final level that I completed. It's significantly longer than the preceding levels, actually spanning 2 widths of the paper instead of 1. This level introduces moving platforms. I did not indicate on paper what direction they move in, so I just went for what seemed appropriate while remaking the level. What's interesting is that at the edge of the page I used what looks like a checkpoint flag to indicate that the level continues from the other checkpoint flag. However, while checkpoints did exist in Super Mario Bros. And Super Mario Bros. Deluxe, they were not visibly indicated in either. They are in Super Mario Maker though. The latter half of the level starts with these circle thingies. They remind me of log bridges. However, these don't actually appear in the original games. I think I might have taken inspiration from the aforementioned Super Mario 63 by Runao however, as that game did include such bridges. It does make me wonder if I had intended on introducing other elements that would normally be found in Super Mario Bros. One of the subtle differences between Super Mario Maker and Super Mario Bros. Is that in the ladders the support of the grass platforms doesn't extend as near to the edge. Instead it stops 1 block early. This is also how I drew it in this level on paper, and I frankly think it looks better. A more significant difference is that the grass platform is semi-solid in Super Mario Maker, which means that you can pass through it from beneath. In the original game you do indeed bump your head against the ceiling of them. You see I went for red Koopa Troopas here instead of green ones. I have no way to tell which I intended in the drawings, but in the original game red Koopas are used in these athletic type levels. Here I tried to get up to the top platforms by using that moving platform, as I did that in testing. However, it's probably intended to use the brick blocks instead. As you see I used a regular bridge for the log bridges. Interestingly, on the Super Mario World style this is indeed a log bridge. And this is the end of the last level. On the back side of the sheet there's only this. I guess I ran out of time just after starting 3-4 and didn't feel like continuing later. A pity maybe. I do wonder how I would have continued the game. But while I rarely draw on paper anymore, I have not given up the fun of designing Mario levels, and I am looking forward to creating new things in Super Mario Maker 2. Thank you for watching and God bless.